everybody. Welcome to the TechRaptor podcast. I am Robert, your features editor.
Andrew Rotten, your editor-in-chief.
Rutledge Doggett, site founder.
Andrew Stretch, zombie wrangler.
Zombie Wrangler, that's right. This week we're going to talk a lot about zombie wrangling and Back 4 Blood, as well as a few other games. But first, let's dive into the news. The Nintendo Switch Online Pass thing is getting an expansion pack, and they're cutely calling it, the PAK, kind of like that, that old school N64 thing.
The Rumble Pack?
Yeah, like the Rumble Pack, yeah. But essentially, there's now going to be two plans of Nintendo Switch Online. There's the one that we all know already, that we're all familiar with. It's like $20 a year, individual plan, and family plan, I believe, is $30.
It's 35, I think.
35. Yeah. And, that gives you online play and all that jazz, and Tetris 99, the best battle royale game on the planet.
Seriously.
And now there's going to be this new one they're calling with the expansion pack. So it's going to be $50 a year for the individual plan, or $80 a year for the family membership plan. And this gives you all of Nintendo Switch Online, the other pack, as well as access to a bunch of N64 and Genesis games. Well, a bunch might be a lot to
handful.
say. A handful.
It was like 10, right?
Yeah, including some big ones like, Mario 64 and all that.
Sonic.
Yeah. And the Animal Crossing DLC that got announced last week. Happy Home Paradise is what it's called. It's like $25 if you buy it on your own, but if you do that expansion pack, you get it for free, quote unquote.
I love it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to play Ocarina of Time for the 700th time. Mm-hmm. And that might sound facetious, but day one, I'm just going to sit down and power through that game. That is so much fun.
So you're going to pay Nintendo a premium so you can play Ocarina of Time again.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't have a working Nintendo 64. I guess I could pull out my 3DS to replay it. My Wii U is broke. I think I have a working Wii somewhere, but I don't even think that my TV has the hookups for a Wii anymore. Because that was highest you could get was composite. And even that, it was, I think, like a 480i video out, which I just would not trust on a 4K monitor.
No, I always forget that the Wii is that old, or like doesn't even have HDMI, right?
No HDMI.
Yeah, it's wild.
What's like the original 360 didn't have HDMI either. That came later, either with the arcade or the Slim. But yeah, I'm super excited. I know that some people have been questioning the prices for Nintendo doing what Nintendo does best and giving you access to games that you have likely already purchased across 4 systems.
For $50 a year.
Yeah,
for pay an insane amount.
Yeah.
Well, $50 a year, that's still less than a year of just like the base PlayStation Plus or games or Xbox Gold.
Oh,
right.
You mean those services where you get new games?
Well, no, because that's just like base. Like you'll get PlayStation Plus games and games with Gold, but that's not factoring in like PlayStation Now or Game Pass. Because Game Pass yearly, I think, gets to like $150.
It's $14.99 if you pay monthly, and then so slightly less than that if you pay annually. I don't remember.
Well, I don't know if you can do annually for Game Pass, but you do occasionally get like the 3-month gift card for Game Pass goes on sale. That's usually when I pick it up, because then you get it all a little cheaper. You can stock it up.
But I think it's great. I think it makes sense. I really hope that this means that that Nintendo's going to put some more thought and some more effort into the back end of online.
No, they won't.
No. You're already paying for the bad version. Why would they make it better?
Well, I know that when Monster Hunter Rise came out, that was on the newer version of their back end online. And people did talk quite highly of the Monster Hunter Rise multiplayer. Compared to like when I was doing the review for Smash Bros. Ultimate, playing online was impossible. Like just trying to play like wired on my couch 10 feet away from my router. That was just impossible to play. It was just not a fun experience.
Which is why I'm so glad that in my new OLED Switch dock, they finally added an Ethernet port, so I can never plug one in to play an online game anyway. Because that's the thing with Switch, is that I feel, because, you know, a lot of people are comparing the new $50 price point to the $60 PlayStation Network and Games with Gold or Xbox Live, right? And I still think back to, if I want to hop on to my PS5 or my Series X and, you know, just, where we dropping, boys, right? I want to hop into a game with some friends. I just put on my headset, turn it on, and I'm good. That's it. I've done it. I paid $60 for that convenience. If I pay Nintendo $50 for this, I have to get my phone out, hook my app up to whatever the fuck I need to hook it up to, somehow have 2 feeds of audio from 2 different sources come to me just so I can talk to my boys in Splatoon. And that's
what's weird is, haven't some games fixed that? I'm pretty sure like Fortnite on the Nintendo Switch has in-game voice chat.
But it's in-game. It's not Nintendo solving the problem.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
It's Epic Games solving the problem. Yeah, so that's what I always think back to, is that I don't know if Nintendo has ever really provided a even decent online experience compared to its competitors. But I also don't think that's necessarily Nintendo's strengths. Like, I've never thought about, man, I can't wait to play Breath of the Wild online. You know, that's not really what I think of when it comes to Nintendo.
No, you think, oh, I can't wait to buy this again and pay them for the privilege of this 25-year-old game again.
I know, right? I'm super excited. I can't wait.
It's so this expansion pack bullshit is the worst of all of Nintendo all over. It's a bad service for really old games that, like, if you haven't played them by now, that's crazy. 1. And 2, if you haven't, it's I don't, to pay this much to get access to them is crazy. And I don't know. It's a lot of arrogance and hubris on Nintendo's part to be like, you know what? Our games are so good, even our 25-year-old ones, that people are going to pay this much money for them. That's just nuts.
I think the way Square's handled it on Switch has been good in terms of like the older Final Fantasies. They're not stupidly expensive. They work great, and that's that. At least in my opinion.
Virtual console going away was the dumbest thing.
Yeah, because I could see a world where, like, if you could boot up a virtual console and you pay like $10 to $20 for like the specific older games you want to emulate, I could see that.
A one time, I pay that fee. I don't have to keep a subscription. Yeah,
but I mean, at least like I'm looking at this list of games and seeing, ooh, I can't wait to replay that. Can't wait to replay that. Haha, you know, finally an F-Zero is on a new Nintendo console. I want to play that. I want to play that. I'm looking forward to Pokemon Snap coming out, to, you know, the original Paper Mario that I've still only ever gotten like halfway through in the past. I see all of that coming on, and I'm thinking, well, I have a family plan with friends that at no point Nintendo has discouraged doing. So this has been a $10 per year. It's gone from like $4.67 to $10 per year, for access that I know Nintendo would be saying, oh, you want to play Ocarina of Time? $20. Paper Mario, $20. Pokemon Snap, $20.
Mario 64, $20.
Yeah, Mario 64, they've just sold and then stopped selling as part of the HD Mario pack, which I think is completely baffling because I own that, and now one of those 3 games I just have access to as part of my subscription. But, you know, knowing how, like, when Nintendo originally dropped Pokemon Yellow on the 3DS, I think that was like $15. But if I can get, you know, play 8 games that Nintendo would have individually sold me for $20 or $15 or even $10 for the sake of argument, and I play those 8 games on my $10 per year service, like, it just, cost wise, it works in my favor. I can understand if you're paying $80 for two people or $50 just for yourself, that that's a more difficult cost per play hypothetical. But I'm more than down to pay $10 a year to get access to those old games for cheaper than if I tried to purchase them separately from Nintendo.
Right, but you also have the extra benefit of like you've already organized a group of 7 other people, right?
Oh,
to,
definitely.
Like, get all this.
And I think that's going to be the minority by a lot.
Yeah, I feel like a majority of people will at most be splitting that $80 plan between like 2 or 3 people, you know? Yeah, which I mean, it's still not bad. But I think the more interesting thing to me of all this is what's the future of the expansion pack, right? Because, you know, the emulation, that's cool, whatever. Like everyone's going to have their own take on whether it's exciting or not to be able to play Mario 64 again. But what's interesting is that they're adding that Animal Crossing expansion pack, right? And I feel like expansion packs in the world of Nintendo they feel fairly new still. They haven't been doing them as long as, you know, many other games. But does this mean, you know, like if Smash came out within the past year and then this expansion pack came out, would we see a future where they would add the Smash DLC fighter passes to the expansion pack? Are they going to add Breath of the Wild 2's DLC to this expansion pack? If Metroid Prime 4 ever comes out and has expansions, would that be in this? You know what I mean? So is this like essentially right now, maybe that $50 a year isn't meaning a lot to you, but 2 years from now, if $50 a year also nets you Metroid DLC, Link DLC, and all of that, is that a more enticing option to you?
I think that's some pie in the sky thinking. That's what I think. I don't think that's happening at all. This Animal Crossing thing is probably the one time it's happening.
You think so?
Yep.
Huh.
And then,
If
Nintendo doesn't. It's just the timing with this. It's like, oh, we want to get people on this expansion pack. Here's a way that we might get more people doing it. And this is so they're adding Animal Crossing onto it. And they do this kind of stuff all the time where they do this one shot and we're never going to see this kind of thing again. They're going to make you pay for the expansion pack.
Or the numbers are going to pop on their subscription service because of it. And they're going to be like, oh shit, we should do this more. And you're going to see it kind of built out more and more. Maybe
Nintendo make a sensible decision?
You can hope that there's a numbers guy at Nintendo that's like me that sees numbers and it's like, okay, we should do more of that.
Yeah.
If there were, this wouldn't exist like this. If they had that guy,
fair,
they would be doing other things by now.
It's true. But I'm just thinking like in terms of Microsoft's entire business strategy, right? Like there is very little that's as exciting as seeing here's this big exclusive Microsoft has and it's day one on Game Pass, right? Like that final day one on Game Pass is like it seals the deal for like, I want to check out that Microsoft exclusive, right? And I'm wondering if this Nintendo expansion pack could be that same avenue for them, right? Where maybe I wouldn't have picked up, you know, that DLC, or maybe I'm going to pick up that DLC for sure, but now it's like a nice bonus that I'm going to get it quote unquote for free because I already pay $50 a year for this thing. You know what I mean? Like this could kind of be their Game Pass, sort of.
Yeah, but I think Nintendo also is always like, our products are way better than everybody else's. We don't need that gimmicky BS to get people to play and buy our games. They will pay full price for our games. And they've kind of held that for this entire time.
And the thing is, though, people do. Yeah, people
and that's
do,
what I mean.
Right?
It works. Like there's a reason they do it.
Yeah.
To buy new copies of like Super Mario Maker 2 is still like $50-$60. That has not changed.
It's like Disney with their Vault nonsense. Like those stuff. I mean, they don't do really much. Disney Plus has obviously changed a bunch of stuff on that. But forever, like you couldn't buy copies of a movie, and when they came out, it'd be like $20 or $25 for the silver edition or whatever nonsense. It was like way more expensive when other movies you'd be like, all right, it's in the on sale bin for $5 instead of paying $20, $25, $30 for this DVD or Blu-ray. Same kind of crap.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, that's just what can happen when you have a company that treats its stuff like it's prestige.
Yeah,
maybe more than it probably deserves, if we're being honest.
Probably some, but I mean, obviously Nintendo games when it's a first party like Nintendo game, they're never like duds. I can't think of the last one that's just like garbage. They're always
Arms?
okay.
Arms?
It's okay.
Yeah.
Or
It didn't.
Pokken tournament. Well, was Pokken first part? Like, was that developed in house? I forget.
I don't think
Yeah, I
so.
think
I don't
Pokemon-
know if it was. It came out in the arcades first.
Did Pokemon Let's Go do well? I can't remember.
Oh, I'm
Yeah, it
sure.
did.
I think people liked it. I remember seeing a lot of tweets about how you can like pet Eevee and change its and Pikachu too. You can change their hairstyle if you pet them enough. So
I just don't remember
seeing
people
that.
talking about it much more than a month after release.
Yeah.
It didn't have the so a lot
Didn't
of
have
the
the
staying
staying
power
power.
for people for like Pokemon is like, this is weird, but there's a lot of people that are definitely into the competitive part of it, and it didn't have anything for that. It wasn't for that at all.
Well, I feel like most Pokemon staying power comes from the mainline releases, right? Like I feel like the discussion tail of Sword and Shield way longer than new Pokemon Snaps, for example. You know?
Yep.
Well, new Pokemon Snap was also just in general a shorter game. Like you could get through all of the maps in 3 days in a week versus Sword and Shield, which has then had like so much additional content added to it as well.
Right. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to grab this expansion pack personally. I mean, I'm not a big Animal Crossing guy in the first place, and I feel like that would be the thing that would have grabbed me. Because otherwise, I mean, I've played Mario 64 before, you know?
I think for most
I'm
of those
good.
games, if someone wanted to have played them, they would have found a way to play them by now
Yeah.
that are on there.
It's also the ease of access of like, here I am on my couch, my Switch is already in my hand. And that app always keeps itself updated too. Like there's been times that I haven't played one of the SNES games on Switch in months, and then I'll open up the SNES app and it like presents all of the new game boxes to you like with a bow on them. And so you like go and like select it and it like opens it like a little present. It's like, boom, you can play this game now.
That's cute.
So it's because it keeps itself updated, it might be that you're in, on a road trip in a plane or something, and you're like, man, I want to play an N64 game. You click on that tile, and there's 3 more that you didn't even realize that you had access to. Just that ease of access versus digging out your, 3DS to play Skyward Sword 3D or whatever.
Yeah. Or, yeah, Skyward Sword HD even, which they did re-release recently.
I'm still only a quarter of a way through that, and I picked it up day one.
I only played a few hours of it, and I'm good. I don't think I'm going to play any more of that personally, but yeah, I don't know. I think this is just another example of Nintendo kind of, they do things their own way, right? For sure. And I feel that has always showed up the weakest when it comes to online services.
Oh yeah, they're still in the past making playing cards when it comes to online support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Speaking of larger companies making some changes, we've got a story about Valve here, famously known for Steam and the upcoming Steam Deck. They are now banning any cryptocurrency games on Steam, period. Like, period, stop. No more cryptocurrency, NFT type games. The caveat being that there are, like, if your game uses blockchain but does not deal with currencies, you're fine. But the second that there is a currency or NFT attached, it's not allowed on Steam.
I mean, it's a good thing, I guess. Crypto's become pretty gimmicky. He says owning 250,000 Shiba Inu coin. But at the same time, like MIR4, as an example on Steam, when that launched, it had, on average, 75,000 players, and it was rated very negative. But it was that popular specifically because by playing the game, you would earn crypto. So it becomes this gamification that is not positive. I mean, I guess you could say it's positive for some, but to me, it playing a crappy game just to get crypto is just kind of against the spirit of things, right? You play games you want to play and that are fun, not essentially a job that you hate to earn small amounts of crypto. It's weird. I could not wrap my head around it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just capitalism.
No, I think it's like, make it, if you said like, hey, here's a game you could play that's like, but you make real money, like, you know, percentages of a cent for doing this thing over and over again. Everybody like, what are you talking about? Get the hell out of here. But you give it a currency and it's like, oh, they jump right on. It's just manipulation and taking advantage of people.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same reason they use, like, if you go to gamble in a casino, you're not putting down actual dollar bills. You're putting down chips. You're putting down chips.
Yeah.
Those, they don't have real value. It's whatever, you know?
I think, I mean, speaking of like capitalism, as you were saying before, Scrappy, but I think that the big issue that Valve probably has here, and this might be, you know, saying the inside part out loud, is I think that they just want that stuff off Steam because it's not going through their system.
They're not getting it.
Could
cut.
be. Yeah.
I think if there was a way that Valve was able to enforce that they get a small percentage of whatever that crypto transaction is, or they get some kind of processing fee, that would be more in line. One of the other editors brought up, you know, the idea of like, well, you can sell the in-game items of the Team Fortress 2 hats, or even Steam has its trading cards that, yeah, there isn't like a finite amount like there is for NFTs, or that there supposedly is for NFTs, but because it's going through that system. Like, I bet if it was that like all the crypto you earn adds onto your Steam wallet, and then you can purchase trading cards with that crypto from your Steam wallet, that I think that would be where we see Valve being okay with it.
Yeah, where you can like actually pay for it through your Steam wallet, essentially, so that way Valve can get a cut. Yeah, I could see that, but I also wonder how much of this is tied to, because I feel that there's just generally been a anti-crypto and anti-NFT movement recently online, you know, especially with, you know, like the pretty bad PR when it comes to environmental concerns and all that, right? And then just generally, if you have Elon Musk as the face of crypto, like that, you know, it's going to polarize some people, right?
Well, there's the Evil Ape stuff too. If
Yeah.
you saw that, where the creator of that NFT series walked away with $3.4 million. Nobody got their NFT, anything like that. So that, I mean, and that happens in crypto all the time. You've got all these crypto pumps that are now being investigated by the SEC and stuff like that. I mean, it's no different than stock trading at times, and people, you know, taking advantage of others to make money themselves. But I think that crypto and NFTs have been abused and used to take advantage of people more significantly than anything else. Because everybody's like, yeah, you can just jump into crypto. Anybody can do it. But if you don't do your research, you don't understand that, you know, a lot of the coins outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum and things like the Graph and some of the other ones that have real world applications, they're garbage, and you shouldn't be touching them.
So it's now a bad time to announce
RaptorCoin.
Bad time to announce that.
No.
Ooh, maybe we'll wait till next week. Let the news die down.
Yeah.
Oh, don't tempt me. I'm gonna go see if that domain's available.
We all know Rutledge and his love of purchasing domains.
Yeah, you just got to get it before this episode goes live, and then you're good. Otherwise, someone else might steal it.
I'm already on the registrar.
I was going to say, let's have a bet. What, 1 minute, 2 minutes this domain is going to be purchased?
Yeah, I bet you 5 Raptor coins, 1 minute.
$4,700 for that domain?
What?
That's like 6 RaptorCoin.
What?
Man.
I can get the .net for 11, but
Hey.
the .com is considered a premium domain.
Wow.
$4,795.
Is it because it's got coin in it?
I bet it is.
Wait, can we get Raptor.coin? Is that a thing? RaptorCo.in.
I don't.
Maybe.
Ooh, I bet we could do that one.
RaptorCoin.ninja.
We do own Raptors, RAPTO.RS. That's our short leaking. So you can get creative with domain names, but the fact that it is almost $5,000 is insane.
Oh yeah. Yeesh. But I do love that in this Steam story of Steam saying, hey, we're not allowing cryptocurrencies or NFTs on our marketplace anymore. Tim Sweeney's like, but we will. come over here. Come over to Epic Games where we let it happen.
That's just like that's a solid investment. It's like, all of these companies are getting turned away by Steam. Like, we don't have to pay them for exclusivity or like pushing people to our platform. Sure, we'll do it.
And then wasn't he immediately like a bunch of people like tweeting at him, hey, is this you? When he was tweeting about how they'd never allow that on Epic Games or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Like he said
He
something
did a couple
about
years ago, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, what happened? Changed?
I mean,
what happened is probably Epic has been working on a way to monetize NFTs on their end.
Mm-hmm. No, I think honestly, Epic's number one drive when it comes to the Epic Game Store is whatever Steam's doing, we won't do it. They don't have a shopping cart, or do they now? I don't know. But it took them a long time to do the fucking wish list too, right? But no, I feel like just most of the PR is generally like, we're gonna do the anti-Steam. And you know, that's how they position themselves too, right? You can see it in whenever people, you know, hate on Epic or hate on Steam, there's always like that pro the other side vibe to it, you know, when at the end of the day they're both just marketplaces. Like, why are you at bat for either of them?
It's dumber than the people arguing which of the plastic boxes that sits under their TV is better. It's like, which of the storefronts that I can access from the same computer is better than the other.
It'd be like someone going like really hardcore for Target and someone being really hardcore for Walmart and just being like battling to the end. Mm-hmm. It's like, who cares?
Those people.
Like,
yeah. Man, I don't know. This is just it's funny to see it play out, and I'll be honest, I feel like I don't see enough games that are like I haven't seen a game become like game of the year type of thing, and it's cryptocurrency based. You know, usually almost all of them sound like gimmicks, feel like gimmicks, like they don't really take hold as like a center stage part of the industry. You know,
they've become a joke. I mean,
yeah, it's like they're NFTs being sold as games versus it being like a game where cryptocurrency or like where NFTs are part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like what is it? Intellivision, I think, is selling NFT games before the console's even available.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're not even. You can put down a $50 deposit on one of the new Intellivision consoles. There's no release date. There's no release window, even as far as I saw. But you can spend $150 getting a pack of like 8 games for it. That and also like it's like one of those where like it's a physical NFT, so it's just a physical copy.
Yeah. I feel like most things are physical NFTs by definition, kind of.
What was that bit from Devolver? The non-fuckwithable tape?
Yeah, the non-fuckwithable tape. I love that. Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about it that feels scammy, you know, like even like you don't really have to dig in much. There's just a vibe to it, you know?
Yeah.
And I can see why Valve would try to distance themselves from it just to keep that off of their marketplace, you know?
Hey, but check out these CSGO skin sites, baby.
Very true. There's just a name for it now. There wasn't before, or there wasn't like a unified term.
Well, plus, Valve can make money off those CSGO skins, so that's fair game.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's shift on over to talk about some of the games we've been playing.
Before we jump, I just want to say I bought RaptorCoin.
Proud of you.
.in. Oh
my god!
I maim domains, so yeah.
You what domains?
I maim them.
Like you cut them up?
I buy stupid domains, and this just made sense.
You know, and hey, we'll use it eventually. It'll be like
I'll
a
find a
Raptor
way.
coin where you keep it and then it increases in value and then you can sell it for $5,000.
We'll tie it into our membership platform.
All right. You just have to find Rutledge in person for him to pay you.
Yeah. I'm gonna go off
And
grid
his
quickly.
address is let's a second here.
And his phone number is.
I'm getting doxxed on my own podcast.
So let's talk about Back for Blood, because I think that's the big game that all four of us have played over the past week. I think many people have tried it, especially because it's on Game Pass, right? So it's pretty easy to try, or if you want to buy it, you can. That's our Game Pass mention of the episode with Stretch cheering over there. But Back for Blood, essentially Left 4 Dead 3, right? It's Turtle Rock's newest 4-player co-op experience after Evolve happened. And here we are with zombies again.
Ridden.
So are we at the point now that we can officially start calling games Left 4 Dead likes?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I'm sure we're never going to call them Back for Blood likes.
Yeah.
That's cold. I mean, it's a pretty solid game overall. The one thing I'm glad that they patched out this week was the specials, the Ridden, spawned way too much.
And they still do.
They still do, but it wasn't as bad as like you're fighting that first boss in the first act and you got like 23 special Ridden there to just mollywhopping you.
Rut, have you tried getting good? I hear that's a pretty important part of the game.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like we got to that point way sooner than like someone had a bet out there. When was anyone on the show going to say get good as a joke?
Are you
There
saying
it
this is
right?
the Dark Souls of shooters?
No, that was Lawbreakers. Weren't you listening to
this is-
me?
That's true. Yeah.
This is
You
the
don't need a
Dark Souls
tutorial,
of
get
Left
good.
for the Dark Souls of Left 4 Dead likes.
Yeah.
you go.
I think.
But I don't know, that's probably the thing that's baffling me the most about this game is that, you know, on paper it should be fun, right? I mean, because you hop in with 3 friends, shoot a bunch of zombies, whatever, right? Like, it's hard to mess that up. It's the same reason Borderlands has been, you know, anywhere from tolerable to really fun, depending on where you land on it, right? But the difficulty in this game feels really borked on like a fundamental level, and it's so different from the beta. The beta I feel like was finely tuned. It felt challenging but not punishing, whereas with this game, even the normal difficulty, it's nearly ridiculous, I feel, in how much damage you take, how many special zombies show up to do that damage to you, you know, and they just swarm you from every direction.
Yeah, they don't even really feel special by the time you get through like 2 levels, and at the start of every encounter, at least 4 specials show up out of nowhere. It just doesn't feel like they're special. They also go down a lot easier than like a charger or a tank from Left 4 Dead would.
Yeah, and I mean it just feels like with the normal difficulty to me that unless you're on a team with 4 people and you like coordinate and you like legit coordinate, you know, like you talk to each other and know like where are you positioned, who's going to flank, that sort of stuff, it becomes really difficult to figure things out. And that's the thing. I know that there are probably people out there who are just like, well, why don't you just get good, right? Because sure, there are probably people out there who are better at this game than I am, right? But for a 4-player co-op experience that's just supposed to be like hop in with the mates and enjoy some fun, your choices of difficulty shouldn't be like brain dead baby mode and super hard like try hard mode and nothing in between, you know?
Well, one of the frustrating things too is like you spend all this time in each act building up your deck and like leveling up your guns, adding attachments, and then you go to the next act, and even though it's a continuation from the last one, you're starting fresh. It's kind of it's weird. Whereas like with Left 4 Dead, you would choose your loadout, that was it. There's this RPG element to it that feels really good towards the end of an act, but at the start of an act, it's painful. Like you're having to restart with guns that are just iron sights and none of the perks, none of the attachments. the start of every act is just frustrating.
I feel playing through it, it always feels like the level of stress, the level of engagement is always at the same level. Left 4 Dead 2 would have a whole bunch of, like, Left 4 Dead would have a whole bunch of, like, you're going down alleys, you're going into buildings, you know, climbing up some stairs, hopping out a window, going down whatever, that you would only ever see, like, 2 or 3 zombies at a time. A lot of Back 4 Blood felt to me like you're just consistently fighting, and then you get to, you know, a place where it says activate this to alert the horde, and then you'll find like ammo, extra weapons and stuff there. There isn't as much of like the weapons or the things to upgrade scattered throughout. And it kind of leads to, like, no matter how you're playing, it's all one play style. Versus the last big game like this, which I actually prefer, which was World War Z. You know, the RPG progression in that was tied to the character you were playing. So it wouldn't be that you would get to a next part in the story and everything would reset with almost roguelite elements, but instead, you know, you could build up your character. And the purpose was that you would really only want to play through the game first on normal with like a Diablo-esque progression that, like, as you build up that character, as you learn levels more, as you buy more attachments and upgrade your character, that's when you would then want to be taking on these harder challenges. But probably the biggest difference that I see in World War Z is starting off with like a silenced pistol. You can start a level and like go guns blazing, or you can go through and like coordinate with the people you're playing with and just like quietly pop headshots off on zombies. And it's a wholly different experience. The first time I played it through with a friend, and like even your AI partners that are with you will not go loud until you go loud.
That's nice.
And it's just, it allows that difference in playstyle that, yeah, like any stealth game, you're going to mess up and the best laid plans will suddenly become an all-out loud brawl. And then there are definitely the horde moments, but it's like you need those quiet moments to enjoy the high-intensity moments. And Back 4 Blood just seems like on the same level no matter what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think probably one of the more frustrating things I found, and maybe it's just because like I've most of the games I've played have been with like random people online, not like a coordinated, like, you know, military group of 4 people or whatever, who like are tightly knit and know everything. But, you know, there's something about a 4-player co-op experience that, like, when you hop into it, you know, you just want to have like some fun, right? You just want to like enjoy the vibe of like killing a bunch of pixelated zombies and whatever, right? So there's a more lax attitude that comes with playing with random people online, because everyone's just kind of doing their own thing. And then, you know, if you ping at a special zombie enough times, maybe someone else will help you kill it. Mm-hmm. But because of that, you're always running off on your own. And then the sleepers happen, and they're the worst zombies in this entire game, because they don't quite feel approachable unless you're playing Carly, because Carly can like see them through walls, right? But everyone else is like, you're fucked when it comes to sleepers, right? Like, I've died so many times because it's like I'm out there, I get sleepered, and then like no one else is nearby to help out, and then getting sleepered triggers the horde. So even if someone is nearby to try to help, they can't get to you because the horde has just started, you know?
And I wonder if, because me and Scrappy played some yesterday, and I was thinking about this after we were done. I wonder how much, in terms of playing like with random people, how much Game Pass is not helping in some way. What I mean by that is that it's just a bunch of people like trying it that maybe aren't as interested and don't really know that much about it, and are going in relatively blind-ish. It's just a new game that they got on Game Pass. And there were some, like, when we were playing yesterday, we were like, oh, this is ridiculous sometimes. Like, I wish we had the recording of that first one we played. Because we, like, go upstairs on the very first map, and we're just surrounded immediately by everything. couldn't do anything. And it's like, how can you, even if we were the best players in the world, you can't shoot fast enough to kill what is here. It's crazy sometimes.
Yeah. And that honestly just makes me scared of like the hardest difficulty, veteran or no, nightmare, right? Nightmare difficulty. Because like that's the thing, because it's a roguelike-ish progression system, right? Where the only thing you really keep are cosmetics. Because the beginning of every act, you're same shit guns, like you're only one card, right? Or two cards. So like you just have to be good to survive on the higher difficulties. And it's that classic get good, vibe, right? And I'm not like a pro gamer. Like I've played a couple Dark Souls, right? I play some hard shit, but like I'm not a speedrunner. I'm not a like fighting game Evo champion or anything, right? Like I'm not gonna say that I'm the best at gaming, but there is something about this game that just feels like I don't know if I could approach it like long term,
Yeah, I mean, to me, it feels like you play through the game and that's about it. It doesn't have the same staying power that Left 4 Dead did, just because there was a lot more replayability there, I guess. Like, it's cool that you have the card system that'll kind of shake things up. Every playthrough will be a little bit different for the most part. But I think it would have been a lot more impactful if you kept all of your stuff throughout the entire game. So it's like, and they, rather than every single level you're getting a card, they spread it out a little bit more or something along those lines, so that there is a true progression from the start of the story to the end. It just feels like, okay, cool, we've chunked it out into acts, but realistically, I would be keeping my stuff through the whole game in literally any other game. So it's weird, and sometimes, and when you get mollywopped at the start of an act after you had like awesome guns the last one, it's just frustrating. Like, man, I built up that gun, managed to get all legendary attachments, and now I'm just back to as if I was starting over again.
Yeah, and that's the shame too, right? Is that because there are moments in this game that do feel pretty cool, when it's like the four of you, or even if you're not like super coordinated, like the ferry in the beginning felt pretty fun, right? There's one of the like corridor segments I've seen videos of in like Act 2 or 3, I think, like you're in some prison or hospital or something like that. I'm like, that looks like it's a lot of fun as you're being chased from like both angles, like both ways, and you're running down this hallway, and I'm like, that sounds rad. But I also don't know if I want to stick around and survive all of the other shit just to try that,
I think to Otten's idea, it would be interesting to see, like, if this first week that it's been out, if that's a whole bunch of people hopping onto Game Pass, giving it a try, and potentially petering off. I wonder what type of players or community will be here in 2 weeks. Like, will you not have that trouble of, the sleepers as much, because the people who have been playing it now know, like, that's one of the possible spawn points, or like that's a guaranteed spawn.
Yeah.
And how the expertise in moving away from the casual crowd will alter it. But yeah, it does feel like even on its lowest difficulty, it's still a game that you need to be focusing on to play, versus like the basic difficulty in Left 4 Dead, where you can just run around like smacking away zombies with the butt of your weapon and you're just having fun.
Well, that I kind of disagree with, because I feel like the easiest difficulty is like mind-numbing.
Yeah,
it is just
way too easy.
It's boring. It's way boring to me.
Might have been just because I was playing with 3 bots then.
Maybe. Yeah. No, but like when you play it on the easiest difficulty, even with 3 random people, it is just like you barely take damage and you destroy almost everything pretty easily. So like the most you have to worry about is like objectives, not necessarily like, can I survive while I'm doing the objectives, So I don't know. Yeah, I think there's just like some difficulty tweaking that needs to happen here. That's the vibe I get.
Like we were saying, you take a lot of damage and there's nothing really to help you. You're like, oh, you're screwed. You're not gonna be able to heal from that. And it's like, oh, you mean I made one mistake and I got hit by one of these special ones and half of my health's gone. And it's just
Or the
gone
hag
forever
grabs
now.
you and you're dead.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay. There's not that you need a lot of mitigating things for the difficulty, but there's no like reward for making it through. Like even if you make it to safe, like the safe house, you're like, all right, we made it. I'm still at a quarter of my health.
Yeah.
Like, and I have to spend a bunch of money maybe to heal myself, so I can't upgrade. So I'm kind of screwed. Like, it's just like nothing is helpful.
I think they might have fixed the health kits in some of the safe houses, because I remember when we played that first night or so, we were having to pay for med stuff.
The first charge is free,
like,
but after that you pay.
Yeah, well, Buddy and I've been playing the last couple days, and every time we run into one, there's 4 free charges.
So that's the easy mode.
That's on the
No,
easiest
we're not on easiest.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what changed, but something changed,
Interesting.
because I don't remember there being 4 free charges before.
Weird. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think there were a lot of people who were hoping that this would be like the next Left 4 Dead, right? And I'm not sure if it'll have that staying power, but also I feel like Left 4 Dead has been around so long, and it's also like a mod wonderland that, you know, is it really ever going to get dethroned, you know?
Well, and some of the achievements in Left 4 Dead were fun too, compared to these that are really the only secret ones are finding the secrets. But like in Left 4 Dead, there was the one where you just had to carry the freaking garden gnome for the whole level.
Yeah.
That was the hardest achievement to get, because you had to do it on like the hardest difficulty too. Like stuff like that made the game funny, because you're trying to do these achievements and you're just laughing, even though you're annoyed as hell because you've been smacked down for the 6th time in a row. But it's just hilarious. So
Yeah.
I just don't feel that same level of heart.
I just don't feel like I can laugh a lot in Back 4 Blood. Let's see here. Rut, have you been playing anything else besides Turtle Rock's latest?
I have been playing a bit of Riftbreaker that dropped on Friday, I think. It's kind of similar to the other one I talked about, the Age of Darkness, and that you are a mech pilot dropping into a new world, essentially, to build out a base and harvest resources for Earth, as well as like build a portal back to Earth to send resources back. And I'm not too far in, but there's a lot of complexity to it. You know, you've got resources to farm that you can either farm those resources for materials, or you can use them to create power to handle your turrets and your upgrades and stuff like that. And then there's these waves of creatures that'll swarm your base essentially every once in a while. But apparently, and again, I'm not too far in, but you can explore the whole planet. So you build a base in one place, and then once you've got access to the orbital station, you can kind of drop in different areas to find new resources and just keep building up more and more. So far it's pretty fun, and there's a boatload of people playing it both on Steam and on Xbox. So I'll be curious to see.
RTS or like action? Like
Well, and you can run around as your mech and basically go and take out nests and expand and stuff like that. So it's a mix of RTS and horde mode and a little bit of like action RPG, because you can also create weapons. There's a whole skill upgrade tree that's essential to progression. But it's pretty fun so far. So I'm going to keep playing it over the next couple days.
hell yeah. Sounds like it's a good time. Just a lot of like kind of mindless fun, kind of exploring a planet.
Yep. Turn on some music and just go to town.
Hell yeah. Stretch, what about you?
Aside from the bits of Back 4 Blood I've been playing, I've been diving back into Ocarina of Time Randomizer.
So not the expansion pack version.
No, not the expansion pack version. I mean, this is what, like, I enjoy Ocarina of Time normally. I enjoy it on my 3DS. I definitely enjoy the randomizer. In case you're not aware what a randomizer is, it's pretty much you start off as a Link in his house, but every item, every chest in the game has swapped out contents. So it could be that you like come out of your house, you go to Mido's hut across the way, and the 4 chests in there just have like 2 Skulltula tokens and a 5 rupee and a green rupee, or that could be your like your bomb bag, some bomb shoes, Ocarina, or even both Ocarina upgrades. And it's just a fun, interesting way to play the game for those who have already played it hundreds of times. It's really cool to see the different ways that sequence breaks can happen. Like, a place that you'll never go to as adult Link is that you can go back into Dodongo's cavern, because that like crater in the wall is just open. You can't go back to any of the other child dungeons, but for whatever reason you can. But it means that if you're playing this randomizer and you get your Ocarina and the Song of Time, and you can open the gateway to become an adult, you can do the entirety of Dodongo's dungeon as an adult. There are whole sections that like you need to loop around as a child because like the ledge is just slightly too high to climb up. But as an adult, you can just walk up, hop up, hit a switch, and continue progression.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
And it's just like a fun logic puzzle. Like any item you need will never be passed when you need it, unless you're like know all of the stuff to like sequence break the crap out of the game. And then it's just kind of like a logic puzzle of like, well, I've got all of these items. I might have a bunch of certain items. I might not have a strength upgrade yet, so I can only go so far in the forest temple. But you can do like all of like the outside area and down into the well. But if you don't get the strength upgrade, then it might be, well, there's no point going in there just yet. Where else do I have more access to? And you've just kind of like got to play it fun, play it smart, and see whether you can beat the game. And I think like it's still taking me like 5-6 hours to beat it. But like the really good speedrunners that you see playing it, like ZFG, he'll have it done in like 2.5 hours. And those are also really entertaining like races to watch between two speedrunners. That both have like the same seed, stuff is in the same spot, and then it's just like based on like their knowledge of the game, their knowledge of skips, their knowledge of like the logic to try to beat the game as fast as possible. Super entertaining. I'm a huge speedrunning nerd though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I know randomizers are huge in the speedrunning community, especially with with these games that have been played to death, right? Like where everyone kind of knows.
Be careful, I hear speedrunning's risky. I hear it could lead somewhere.
Another cool thing that I've seen coming up with randomizers as well is that they'll do like randomizer bingo races. That like at the start a 5x5 board will be generated of like different things that you need to do, and then it'll be they can either play it like normal bingo or like lockout bingo. So runners will like kind of get an idea of which row or column is the easiest that they think that they can do. And then they'll race each other or like race for like the majority of the board. And it's just like a cool way of taking a game that so many people have played hundreds of thousands of times, and just making it fun and unique. And like I spent all of yesterday while the DC Fandom event was happening, I just like had that up in one monitor and had Ocarina of Time up on another screen, and just that same kind of like mindless get in the zone, put some music on and play through some Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, I just watch Robert Pattinson beat the shit out of people while Link figures some stuff out.
He's an angry bat.
If you haven't seen the trailer, there's a scene where he literally says, "I am vengeance."
I mean, isn't that what you want from Batman? Come on.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it though?
It's got big emo Batman Begins energy to it, which I'm all for.
He's taken out the Twilight, all the Twilight built up in him, save for this moment.
He hates those movies. Yeah. Have you guys seen some of the interviews that he has?
Yeah, he hates them.
It's always like people ask me, he's like, I can't believe people like this garbage. Like,
it's like, what is it? He's a 117-year-old preying on a 16-year-old girl? That's a bit creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he has aged out of it very gracefully. Like he's doing some pretty cool shit.
And he's a great actor.
Yeah. Yeah. Just kind of cursed as Edward for a little while there. Yeah.
Edward.
But I think that wraps us up for this week's episode of the TechRaptor podcast. We hope you enjoyed. We hope you liked what we did here. If you did have a little fun, feel free to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. That would help out immensely. Or if you're watching us on YouTube right now, why not hit the like button? Maybe hit subscribe if you haven't already. Or if you're listening on your podcast app, of course, hit subscribe there too. If you have any thoughts about what we've talked about here, you can leave us some comments below on YouTube. Let us know what you think. Are you having fun with Back 4 Blood? Really, ask yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror. Are you having fun with Back 4 Blood? Really? Let us know in the comments.
Cool.
What do you think?
Liars. Also, keep an eye out for some RaptorCoin.
Go to RaptorCo.in.
It does work now.
Yeah. Oh man.
I redirected it to the main site.
Okay, for now, but eventually some cool shit will happen at that domain.
Please don't make promises.
But yeah, actually though, for real, if you do want more, news, features, reviews, all of that stuff, we're always publishing stuff at techraptor.net or apparently right now at raptorco.in. So yeah, hit us up there. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We've got a lot of cool things going, a lot of spooky features too, because it's the spooky season, right? It's scary times. We've got this pretty cool one about some really creepy moments in Mario that you might not be thinking about. So why not hit up the site and check it out? We'll be back next week to talk about all the latest and greatest in gaming and all that jazz. But you'll just have to wait until next Monday, I guess. This has been the TechRaptor podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.